Welcome to the Project Her podcast. My name is Beckie Hughes and I'm here with one of my old clients, Gabriella. Everyone say, yeah, woo! Woo! Cue, what those things where they all like cheer in the background, sound effects. Anyway, yeah. In this podcast, we're going to be telling you how to skyrocket your confidence, have the body of your dreams, create the life that you want, and ultimately just strive for greatness. So, Gabriella, thank you for coming on the podcast.
Welcome.
Gabbie, Gabs, and Gabriella. I don't know what to call you because I call you something different every day.
Gabs is fine.
Gabs? I do normally call you Gabs actually.
Yeah, Gabs
quite
is
often.
fine.
I know this is your first time podcasting. Just for other people, how does it feel for the first time being behind a microphone because this is a hard thing to do, right? And I think a lot of people think that you guys are pro podcasters when you come on and they think, God, I could never do that. I could never go on and be a client of Beckie's and go onto her podcast. I could never do that.
Yeah.
How does it feel right now, honestly, to you?
Honestly, nerve-wracking. I've never done this before, and I've literally been saying to you before we started, I'm nervous and I'm excited, but it is nerve-wracking. Yeah. And yeah, I'm definitely not professional at this thing.
Yeah, and I was just saying beforehand, I want to make sure that this conversation is as natural as possible. You speak your mind, you say what you want to say. If you're thinking, oh God, I don't really want that to go out to the world, then that's completely fine. And I make this very, very clear to everybody that's listening as well, that the podcast is not a clinical thing. She has no idea what I'm about to ask her. I have no idea what I'm about to ask her either, because other than my intro, I've got no questions on my empty notebook right now. It's just looking good on my table with the Project Her logo on it, to be honest, currently. So yeah, I wanted to kind of just be really, really real with that in the sense that it's real for you, it's real for me, and I want it to come across that way to everybody else. So whatever you say, don't say, or whatever, I want it to come from the heart so that people know that it's real.
Sure.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So Gabriella, God, that's so funny me calling you that. Gabs, tell me about you. Tell me your story from before you started through the program and the end of the story. Tell me the story.
Ooh. So the story kind of before the program was, I've always found that I was confident. Like, I thought I was really, really confident, but there was always something kind of holding me back, and I can never really put my finger on it. And then when I joined dance, I kind of knew what it was. It started to become more apparent of, I was confident, I'm talkative, I can speak to people. I've experienced a lot of things, but there was this whole comparison. I would compare myself to other people and I would think I wasn't good enough. And I would think, oh, you can't do that, everyone else can. That person's with that person, you're single, and everything was just a comparison. So it's like I was there, I'd done loads of work on myself, I've done counselling, I'm training to become a counsellor, I've done all that stuff, and I thought I had it down. But there was just something holding me back, and I've started to realise that it was this whole comparison and me thinking I wasn't in the right place, and just this kind of negative mindset that would hold me back, really. And it was only till you kind of reached out, the more we got talking, the more I was kind of opening up and realising, wow, actually, I need to take this step. But even, if we look back on our first call, I was scared to take that first step because I was like, oh, it's not going to work. Like, why would it work? But yeah, I'm really, really happy that I did take that step, because I've honestly changed so much.
In what way?
In every sort of way, really. Physically, mentally, my mindset's just completely changed. I would be really negative before and tell myself I can't do something. Literally, like, I can't do this. And now I have my moments where I want to say that, but I kind of reframe it in a different way. Like, I can't do it right now, but maybe I will be able to do it, or I'll give it a shot. So just little things like that. And for me, the way other people have seen me change as well has been huge. Like, I don't know, I think a massive thing that we spoke about was, like, when your mind is right, everything else kind of falls into place. And this whole, like, what I'm attracting now is completely different to what I was attracting before. So that's been major.
Talk to me about that. What do you mean?
So I feel like since I've done the program, my mind's been in a better place and I've been attracting so many more better things. So I gave you the example before of, I've never really passed anything first time in my life. Since I've been on the program, I did my counselling exam and I passed it first time. So that was major for me. Just so many little things like that I just feel like everything's kind of fallen into place.
What about who you're attracting?
Yeah, I'm attracting better people. I'm learning how to just kind of let go of negative, toxic people. If something's not serving me, I won't be afraid to let go. Whereas before, I'd have all this guilt, and I don't know, I think it's happened from quite a young age, but I'd feel like I need to hold on to somebody because I owe them something, and they did something for me in the past, so I need to stick by them. But now that's kind of gone, and I've let go of toxic people that I just feel like, you're negative for me, I don't need to be around you, I don't need to stay because of guilt. So yeah, that's been major as well.
What do you feel like in the program was the thing that changed you the most?
I definitely feel like the training, like the mindset stuff really helped, because that kind of brought everything together. Because there were days where I was like, oh, I can't bother to go to the gym, I'm not going to do it. Like, I look at my body, I'm like, oh no, I still don't feel right. But then when I changed my mindset, so for example as well, my body is still not in the place where I want it to be, but because I've changed my mindset, I look at myself differently, so I feel better. So it kind of all for me came back to the mindset thing, which is something I'm really big on anyway. And I always try to be in quite a positive mindset, but obviously sometimes naturally before the program.
Yeah, so just to put into context, so for anyone who has no idea what mindset training looks like, what is that? What did that look like to you? So what did we do together?
So it was kind of like weekly, what's the word? Weekly, what do you call it? Like,
Cut.
Yeah,
No,
cut. What was it? Weekly like tasks?
Yeah, but say it however you would say it.
So it was like weekly tasks that you'd give me, and I'd take time for myself, like 2 hours to reflect, answer questions, take myself to kind of deep levels to see where things were coming from and what was holding me back.
Like?
The comparison. I was always comparing myself to other people. That was definitely holding me back a lot. Especially I felt like I needed to be in a certain position in my life right now. I felt like there was a lot of pressure that I was putting on myself. Oh, I'm 25, I haven't done this, haven't done that. That was a huge thing for me. So yeah, kind of having that time on like a Sunday for 2 hours to just look into these things and look at what was holding me back.
Do you remember what the mindset trainings were that we did?
Yeah.
What were they?
It's like looking at your values. Yeah. That one really, hit me. Because I've just really assessed everything, and I kind of saw where things were, what the problems were and where things were coming from. So I was able to sit down with myself with no distractions and just be like, right, this is where that's coming from, this is how you can change it. Yeah.
And if you were to paint a picture of exactly how Gabs was before this, what does that picture look like, feel like, sound like?
God. It doesn't sound very nice. Quite negative towards myself. Never really negative towards other people, but it was always kind of negative towards myself. Very unkind to myself. Just like happy, but not really happy, if that makes sense. I was kind of just floating along, whereas now I feel like I'm in the sky on the clouds. But before I felt like I was just floating along. So yeah.
Stuck in a rut?
Definitely stuck in a rut. Yeah.
And what did that feel like? What were your like daily thoughts, for example?
Just anxious a lot and like very fearful, like always worrying about the future. Like, oh, when will I do this? When will I do that? When will I hit that milestone? But now I'm just kind of riding the wave and let it happen. And like you say, I'm attracting so much more. Like, this is a funny part. But the other day I was in BP, literally just getting petrol. And this guy who was working there was like, oh my God, hello beautiful, what are you doing in here? And I was just like, just little things like that. I'm attracting like just all this nice positive stuff at the moment. Yeah. Just little things like that keep happening like all the time, where I don't feel like they were happening before as often, because I feel like I wasn't giving myself the love. And now it's kind of happening where I'm in a better place and I'm attracting more.
Why do you feel like that is? Why do you feel like random people on the street are pointing it out? What do you think is different about you now?
I think it's the way I'm carrying myself. Like even the way I walk and talk physically. Like sometimes I would just not bother how I present myself, but now I do bother. Even if I'm just going out for a meal with a friend, normally I'd be like, oh, I'm not going to bother to look too nice. But now I do, because I'm taking more pride in that, and then that's where I'm attracting more.
You were saying that there's someone who recently has gone, oh, but I don't know, I'm just really scared to do it, or you know, I just don't know if I can, I'm really, really scared. And I said, hang on, hold that thought, you know, like, let's just bring it to the pod quickly, because I think this will help a lot of people.
Yeah.
What's the advice that you're giving that person, and how do you get someone out of that headspace? Because obviously you were one of those people who was thinking, Beckie, you got to be having me on here, like you're talking out your ass, there's no way that you think that you're going to be able to get me from here to here, right?
Yeah.
So what would you tell, I guess, Gabs before the program and anyone else who's in that same headspace to not be afraid, or how would you help them through that process?
I would just say you need to be ready. You need to do it when you're ready, but you've got to trust the process. You've got to go with it, and you've just got to believe in yourself. If you don't believe in yourself, then I feel like you're not really going to get there, because it's all good and well having you, but we need to believe in ourselves and know that we can do it. So yeah, definitely trust in the process is what I applied, and that's why I've been able to be successful with it. But I think you did help me a lot, because one of the things that was holding me back was, for example, feeling like, you know, I couldn't afford it. But then when you flipped it, I'd spent like $5,000 on a counselling course, and I was scared to invest in myself. So I think even in that aspect, I know there are some people that I've spoken to that were like, oh, I don't know if I can afford it. And I've kind of done that whole thing that you did with me and tried to make people realise that you need to invest in yourself. Like, you need to do that. It's a must.
I think it's very, very evident that in society, and we all know this, that, you know, effectively, so you're a trained counsellor now, effectively, right? Or going to be one, etc., etc.
Yeah.
And you were so willing to invest, you know, $5,000 into helping others, but you weren't willing at all to invest in the same money, or well, half the money in investing in yourself. And I think, you know, a lot of people, they say, oh, but I can't afford it. You can afford what you want to afford in this life. And don't get me wrong, times are tough, and there are always things where, you know, we're not gonna be able to all buy, you know, like the best car, the best house, the biggest this. It's just impossible. But what you can do is see self-investment as an investment and not a cost. And I think that's the flip in your mentality that you had, and many other people have, who decide to do this, is that you need to take it away from, I'm spending this money, to, you know what, this is gonna make me rich in so many other ways. Because a lot of people, they see investment as you spend money and you make money back. You'll do that anyway because of the mindset that you're in, but you forget about all the other aspects of life that make you rich.
Yeah.
And what does rich look like to you? Rich to me looks like being happy, having confidence, having self-motivation, getting out of bed in the morning, having purpose, making sure my body is fueled with the right foods, making sure that I'm going to the gym, making sure I'm doing all those things. And I think that's where my passion comes from for you guys, is helping you to see that living a rich life is not how many pennies you've got in your back pocket.
No. Because
you can have all the things that you want to in this life, financially, materialistic wise, and still be unhappy.
Yeah. It's true. I honestly couldn't agree more. But that's, if we go back to the whole mindset thing, that's where I lacked that before we started, because I was thinking, no. If it honestly wasn't for you saying that to me on Zoom, I probably would have been one of them people that just didn't do it.
Why do you think that was so pivotal for you? Because this is new to me too, by the way.
Because of how my mindset was just so negative, thinking that way of, oh, I can't afford it. No. It's too much money for me right now. But when you put it into perspective with your great mindset, then I was like, I had a light bulb moment. I was like, yes, I'm doing this.
So if you didn't do it, where would you be now?
Oh, probably the same or worse than what I was.
What does that look like?
I just probably would have been still really unconfident, still comparing myself to other people, still not believing in myself that I can do things. Just in a bad place, really. So,
because this person who came up to you recently said, I'm scared. What are they scared of? Because you know what that feels like. And obviously I'm saying, come on, like, I know what I can do for you. I know what we can do. I see it in you. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I think they're scared of that change, because for me now, it's like I'm open to this whole new world. I'm never going to go back to that old person. I think some people are actually scared to make that step. They're scared to change. They're scared to be confident, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Some people are just scared to take that step, because I think I even learned that in my counselling course. My eyes are open to so many different things now that sometimes me and my friends are like, oh, we kind of just want to go back to when we were so unaware, because it's easier sometimes. So I think being so aware, yeah, it can be scary, because you kind of got to keep that up, and you know so much about yourself. It can be scary for some people.
What do you feel like has been the most pivotal thing in the program for you? What do you think's changed the most for you? Or what was it that helped you the most?
I think definitely your phrase of when your mind's right, everything else just falls together and back into place. Because I just feel like if my mind wasn't right, none of this other stuff, like going to the gym, getting my eating back on track, even how I feel physically, wouldn't be possible if my mind wasn't there.
You know, it's so funny because I just did a podcast with Georgia, and she said, well, you know, Beckie, like when the mind is right first, the rest will take care of itself. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And I'm thinking, what do you mean? Do I know what you mean? You know, and it's like, and I said to her, I said, job done, you know, penny drops, mic drops, end of story. Thank you very much. You've now completed the program, because the fact that you have said that about 6 times already in this podcast, and you've been here about 15 minutes, it really, really shows that it's ingrained in your soul now.
I
you
swear
know,
by
it's inside you. And I think, and when you said as well at the beginning of this podcast, you said, you need to be ready, and the main thing is that you need to believe in yourself. And in the podcast I just did with Georgia, we were saying exactly the same thing. She said, you need to be ready, and I said, yeah, and you need to believe in yourself. So all you've done actually is combine the two exactly perfectly right. And before this, I think you were saying, Beckie, I'm scared to like speak, like what if I stutter my words, when actually there's so much conviction that you have in what you're saying right now that it's coming out easy, because what you're saying is easy for you to say, like when the mind is right first, the rest will take care of itself. You say it every day. You're so used to doing it. Daily wins. Talk to me about that. Learnings, reflection rate. Talk to me about that. What did that do for you?
Yeah, it just kind of made me feel like I can appreciate myself. I can clap for myself. And now I don't feel... Before, even at dance, for example, I would hate having to clap for myself. I'm like, oh, no, they did it better than me. But now, like yesterday, last night, I was there like clapping so loud because I can appreciate myself, and it's not... I'm not being vain for doing it. I'm being confident. And I've said this actually to someone recently, a guy that was trying to talk to me, and I was like, it's not cockiness. I was like, don't confuse it for cockiness. It's just confidence. And that's just kind of how I am. It's just confidence now. It's not that I'm being cocky and saying I'm good at everything. It's just confidence.
What did he say?
He was a bit threatened by it, I think. Of course. Because he was like, well, I don't know. And I was just like, well, that you do know. I'm telling you, it's just confidence. I don't need to be cocky, but I need to trust myself and believe in myself. It goes back to that whole thing. 100%.
And then again, a guy that's saying to you, oh, I don't know about that, is a guy that you just put in the bin, because from time, someone doesn't believe in the way that you're speaking. And if you're saying the word confidence, they should be the right person for you. Is going to hold your hand for confidence and freaking put it to the sky and say, yeah, that's my girl. Great. But if someone's saying, oh, I don't know about the word confidence, that says a hell of a lot about them. It shows that they're going to start bringing you down. And again, you are the first 5 people that you hang around with, right? If he's the first one, end of story.
No way.
Because all that was, and I hate, sorry to anyone that's hearing this thinking I was the guy. All you're doing is suppressing the amazing things that someone's just built for themselves. And if you're going there with so much chest saying, look, it's just confidence, like please don't get it twisted, like I've done a lot of self-work and whatever, and then this person's coming up to you saying, oh I don't know about that. How many times does that person need to say, oh, I don't know about that, before you go, actually, it's best if I'm just not confident, because then I fit my relationship shoe better. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Which a lot of people... Yeah, he is. But a lot of people do that, though. They will change themselves to just fit with that person. But I just... Well, old me would have done that, but not anymore.
There was a moment with you and I in program when there was 2 things, actually, that we saw here. 3-letter word. And then a 4-letter word, phrase. First one, IBS.
Oh, yes.
Second one, ADHD. Talk to me about this whole catastrophe, how this all happened, the pivotal moment, all of that.
So I think it was the ADHD that we spoke about first. I just dropped it in conversation to you because I was saying, like, sometimes I struggle with my eating patterns and stuff like that because of ADHD. And you was like, what? You have ADHD? But yeah, it's like even that. So I've been waiting for a year. I'd been waiting for about a year. And then since being on the program, I literally heard back in May and I got a diagnosis. So even when we go back to the other thing about what I'm attracting now, I feel like so much good has come out of 3-4 months I've been doing the program with you.
I think one thing as well that I really wanted to touch on was when you were saying that before you had the ADHD diagnosis and you thought that you might or might not have it, etc., etc., you felt like your family members weren't believing you, and your friendships, your friends were saying, "Oh, there's no way," or like, "You don't have that. Like, this is this huge thing that other people don't have." I think I have it. I don't know if I have it, but one of my friends, she is an ADHD coach and a specialist, and she said, "Beckie, 100% you have it." and I can empathize because I understand what that feels like for everyone. My parents are the same. They're thinking, where did all these diagnosis words come from? Like, where do they all come from? And I said, no, but I don't think you understand. If we get the diagnosis, it helps us to accept how we are different to others in a way that other people can't understand us. Our brains are just wired differently. And one thing that my friend taught me was that, and I don't know how true this is, and this is just kind of word of hers, is that there's 1/3 of the population that are neurotypical, 1/3 that are autistic, and 1/3 that are ADHD. And that so alone, absolutely, and that alone really, really, really made me think, so actually the neurotypical, the ones that quote unquote don't have the problem, are exactly the same proportion to the ones that quote unquote have the problem. 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. So actually, are we the problem, or are you the problem? Are the typical the problem, or the ADHD the problem, or you know what I mean? Like, and actually there's no problem when there's all equal, when there's equal ratio of all these different quote unquote, I don't know, whatever you want, diagnosis, whatever you want to call them. It's like, why does it take that to feel like we are accepted in this life and all of those things? And I think one thing for everybody else, if somebody does say to you, I think I'm this, or I think I have that, or I think whatever, what advice would you give to them?
If, for example, someone said to me they think they have ADHD.
So for example, if someone came to you and they were like, none of my family believe me, like my friends I'm finding it really hard because no one accepts me, I just feel like I'm different. What advice would you give to the people that keep telling those people, you don't have ADHD, there's no way that you have it? Like the same experience that you went through. Does that make sense? So what would you say to like your family or your friends or whatever?
I would just say, you need to kind of educate yourself a little bit. And if someone believes that they've got something, then let them believe that. There's no point trying to change how they feel, because it's not going to change. Like, I think my mum did it with me and my family. And I think, like, I don't think she did it on purpose, but it's just kind of what she views ADHD. She was like, oh no, but you can't be, because that's just like for boys who are fidgety and stuff. And I was like, but I do fidget anyway. Yeah. But I would just kind of say, you need to understand where they're coming from. And if they really feel like they have that, then you need to be understanding of that and try to educate yourself on that. And just be kinder to them.
I remember us having a phone call and you're like, Beckie, I've been diagnosed. Like, I got it. And it's like the best news you ever heard in your whole life, right?
It was.
Why did you feel like that?
I felt there was probably a sense of, now I can prove everyone wrong. And it was this whole feeling of, I knew I had it. I just wanted that clarification. And I think a part of me was to just be like to everyone, I told you so. Like, I did have it and you didn't believe me. But I went out there and didn't listen to you and did what I wanted to do, which was to get the diagnosis. And I think that's why I was so happy, because all those people pushing me away saying I didn't have it or there's no way, and it just made me want to do it even more. And I like that about myself, because I do push myself, and if I want something I won't listen to anybody. So I think that's why I felt over the moon.
Do you feel like that also added to the confidence that you've gained, etc., because a lot of this is you believing in the things that you're saying and you believing in the things that you're doing, and for so long you've had lots of people not believe you. So how do you feel like it made you feel in that sense?
I definitely think the confidence that I've got now has helped in loads of ways. Even conversations I'm having with people, I'm just so firm now. This is what I want, this is what I believe in. If you don't like it, then you can go.
And where did that come from? What stage of program did that happen?
Probably at like between week 10 and week 12. Like near the end. I think it was just all kind of coming together for me, and the more I was on the program, the more I was just putting it together and getting more confident, and being able to speak my mind a lot more, because I think sometimes that's where I hold myself back as well. I don't always speak my mind, even though I want to, but it really depends in certain situations. That sometimes I will just go head first, and I will, and other times I try to be a bit more relaxed. But recently I've just been not giving a shit, really, and just go for it.
There's so many things I want to say on this topic, actually, and there's so many different stems I want to go down. But the first one, how do you feel like the mindset training helped specific parts of your life? Like, what specific parts of your life do you remember that we changed or worked on together in the calls?
I genuinely feel like the ADHD thing really did help me, because I was never expecting you to turn around and say what you did. If I'm honest, I was never expecting you to say, actually, I struggle with that. And that could be a potential reason why we decided to work together. So I think that was major for me, just feeling like I could talk to you about it and have your perspective on it as well was just so helpful for me. I think that really helped me.
And then in dance, you were having so many wins, and suddenly 1 minute you weren't getting it, and then all of a sudden you're getting it.
Oh, yeah.
That's not because you became a great dancer overnight. That's because your mindset changed, right?
Yeah.
So what happened?
Dance. Oh, wow. It was honestly, it didn't happen overnight. But the more, I think it was if we go back to when your mind's right, everything else falls back into place. Because I then would start to look at myself differently in the mirror. And obviously the help from Pete is amazing. He would always check in on me, and he would know, do you need this? You need that? Like, you can do this. Even last night, I have really bad coordination. I can't do it. And he literally has to come and lift my arm and like cross my legs. But before, I wouldn't even ask for help. Like, now I ask him for help. Like, can you help me? Can you go back? Because of the confidence of, I can use my voice and I can just say to him, can you help me?
Yeah.
And I'm just not afraid to be myself. I'm just myself there. I feel happy. And I'm picking everything up 10 times more than I was before. Because of how I feel about myself, and there's no more comparing myself to other people. So yeah, that has been major. I can't believe I forgot that.
And you know, a lot of people come on podcasts, or even when we have calls, it's so easy for you guys to forget that how far you've actually really, really come, and all the things that have actually changed for you. Because now I think a lot of people, when they finish the program, I would say to you, you know what, Gabs, like when you get to like week like 11 and 12, you don't even need me anymore. You're gonna be like, Beckie, I don't need you anymore, you're fine. and remember in like week 3 and week 4, remember you were saying, but Beckie, like, I'm scared when it's all over, and I'm scared when I don't have you anymore. And I said, Gabs, just trust the process. You're going to be absolutely fine. When you get to those weeks, you're not going to need me anymore.
No, you're right.
It's really interesting how you've just said on week 10 and week 11, I was suddenly able to just speak my mind and think about what I wanted. And I didn't need your reassurance anymore, Beckie. I didn't need you to tell me that this is right or this is not right. You're so fine doing that on your own.
Yeah.
And now being, you know, passing this exam, saying no to men that aren't good for you, pushing away friendships that aren't good for you, you know, people that aren't serving you, proving your family wrong, all of those things is just gaining and gaining and gaining more and more self-worth for you.
Yeah.
On top of, now we're going on to diet, realizing that actually eating the healthy foods was actually making you feel worse, right? So I'm going, Gabs, do you think you might have IBS? You're like, oh yeah, I think I do have IBS.
Wholemeal bread completely like changed my life. I never knew that. Like, that was making my IBS worse.
No one knows it. It's the most bizarre thing. And you know, doctors, I might get cussed for saying this, but doctors still to this day say that you should eat more fiber if you want to, you know, if your digestion needs to be better, which is completely right for the person who has a normal digestive tract. But if you are someone with IBS, this is the worst thing you can put in your body.
Yeah.
And I think, again, like, revelation for you, right?
Yeah,
what happened?
Everything just changed. I wasn't bloating as much. I was able to go to the toilet. And yeah, I've just been educating everyone else about it. I was at a wedding the other day, and I was saying to my friend, don't eat that if you've got IBS. She's like, why? It's wholemeal bread, it's good for you. I was like, no, it's not. I was like, Beckie told me it's not.
And this is actually, to be honest, this is something that no one taught me. This is something that I had to figure out myself, because when I had it, and I was, you know, I was actually competing, so I was eating all the right things, wholemeal this, you know, brown rice, etc., and I was just feeling like I was dying every day. My stomach was out here. I couldn't go to the toilet for 3 weeks, all that stuff. And then all of a sudden, when I had like a burger and chips, I was like, wow, crazy. Like, what happened?
Go to the toilet.
Yeah, this is mental. Like, let me just try that again. You know, and that's kind of how I found out. So there's no diagnosis for this. There's no one that says in the science of life that not eating fiber is the right thing to do when you don't have IBS. But actually, we've tried and tested it 100 times, and sometimes it's like, do you know what, just try it, like, just give it a go. And thank God that's what's helping you too, because it's all well and good losing body fat and like changing the way your muscle composition is, but if you don't have the right food's going in your system that your body agrees with, you're going to be bloated anyway. You're going to hold water anyway. You're going to feel like you're gaining weight, not losing weight. You're going to be sluggish all the time, etc., etc. So yeah, I'm glad that helped you.
Yeah, it has a lot. And, you know, even when we go back to diet in itself, I was saying to you before, I've tried all those Slimming World and this, all those diets. And it was really funny. I was having a conversation with my mum and my brother's girlfriend, because they were like, let's go back to Slimming World. And I was like, you guys go, I'm not going. And they were like, yeah, no, but you've got Beckie, you know what to do. And I was like, but I can show you. You just need to fix what you eat. Stop going to these places. And I've really realised now that I've been able to keep the weight off. The weight I've been losing since doing the programme, I've been keeping off. And I've been just eating right. I didn't need to do any of this amazing Slimming World diet, lose 10 pounds in a week. Yeah. Because it's never going to work. It's never going to stay off. So I think that really was a turning point for me as well. And they asked me to come back, and I was like, I'm not coming with you.
Yeah, and especially if your whole family are wanting to do it, right?
Yeah.
And they're all thinking, you know, part of it's cult culture. When you're in something like Slimming World, it's a cult. Yeah. And they've marketed it fantastically, and I think it's great for people that don't know what they're doing. When really, if the education was out there, and sometimes the education is out there, but it's not simplified enough, and this is what I think. So obviously when I send you photos in a booklet of, okay, just don't eat that instead, try to eat, switch for that, switch for that. When you have those cartoon eggs that are on the put on the odd toast, that's the stuff that's going to help. And I think, you know, like you said yourself, you understand it now. It's not that you know what to eat, you understand what to eat for you. And
I've been able to help them because I've stopped them from going back. I was
really?
like, don't go.
So they're not going Slimming World anymore?
They haven't gone back.
Wow.
No.
Gabs, claps to you.
Honestly, I was happy with that one.
So now really, like, the investment wasn't just helping you, it's helping others, right? And I think this is another thing. Not only are your friendships better, but now your family's health is better. So that investment that you've actually paid for now is helping how many people?
Yeah, loads. And even I'd say, you know, alongside their health, my relationships with them are better, because they weren't always in a good place. But I think because now I've got that confidence and I just say things how it is, I'm getting a lot more respect from like my mum, my dad, because I'm just being more honest about how I feel, and they're understanding how I feel rather than me just bottling it up. So I've seen a massive change in that as well. That's got so much better.
What do your parents say about you now?
What would they say about me now?
Yeah, like what have they seen the change in?
Mainly physically. They've noticed I've physically changed, the way I carry myself, the way I dress. They're like, oh, you're looking nice. Like physically, I'd say.
Posture?
Oh, posture. I'm getting there with that.
Yeah.
It's hard. But yeah, I definitely do try to make it better than what it was before. But it's just that kind of habit of breaking my old posture.
It's not even posture though, Gab. Sometimes it's where your chin's at. If you're feeling more confident, your eyes are going to be up. If you're feeling less confident, your eyes are going to be down. And that, I think, is the change, the physical change that everyone's seeing. That's the change that I see in you. Yeah. You know, you wake up in the morning, you're ready to go. Instead of having your head down, headphones in, you know what I mean? Like very, very different mentality. You want to be in nice outfits for people to say, you know, this is great. Not for the external validation, but because you feel confident enough to wear those things. Yeah. And to gain that attention. You know, whereas, again, there's two ways that you can look at this. And sometimes I actually walk around and wear tracksuits so that people don't look at me. Because I'm so sick of people saying, oh, Beckie, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, body, whatever. And I'm like, stop looking at me. Yeah. You know, just like think of me for who I am or whatever. I just want a day off from interaction. Yeah. But at the same time, it doesn't mean that I will never do that. Because there are times where, like today, I have gym kit on, you know, like you can see every single muscle and fibre of my being. Yeah. But at the same time, it's having that choice and doing it for reasons that you're happy with and that you're in a good place for. And one thing with you, Gabs, I think the self-belief thing is huge for you. And I think that's why you're so big on it too. Yeah. Is you always say, you know, like, Beckie, if it wasn't for you pushing me, saying this, saying that. But actually, it was just, all I did was ask you a question. Yeah. I didn't tell you about yourself. I just asked you. You know, like, so like, why do you think that investing in everybody else is better than investing in yourself? Just out of interest. Yeah. Even if we don't work together, I actually just want to know. You know what I mean? And I think not being able to answer that question was a big flag for you. Saying, okay, right, time to change.
Yeah, that was the moment. Yeah, that literally was the moment that changed everything. When I came off that call, I was crying in that call. And I came off and I was like, yeah, I'm doing this. I don't care. I'm actually doing this because it's so true how you put it to me.
What would you describe this program in one word? Or how would you describe the program in one word?
Probably life-changing. Is that one word?
Yeah, I suppose so. Why would you say that?
Because it honestly did change my life. It changed so many things for me. And it's just so scary to think that I wasn't going to do it. That's what I think I've told you that before. I can't believe I was going to not do it because of money. It's crazy because nothing else is holding me back in that respect. I remember in that chat, I was ready. The only thing was, I can't afford it. That's a lot. That's a lot to invest in myself.
Yeah.
That was the only real thing.
And it's funny that you're laughing about that now, right? Because
Yeah.
there's no way you were laughing about that before.
No.
So, okay, so if we go on to now financially, how are you going to see that money back again? You've just invested that money in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Are you sure now with the mindset that you have that it's going to come back? Like, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, because I think it's what you were saying earlier. It's not, like I've invested in it because I'm going to get so much money back. It's more I've invested in it for me, for all these other areas of my life.
Mm-hmm.
The confidence, like even if you look at the pictures, which I'm sure you have, the first picture I ever took to the picture I've taken the other day, that whole thing, what you said, I was like moping around in the first picture. You could see on my face. And in the last picture, I'm like smiling. I like being in front of the camera. I wear shorts now and like crop tops to the gym when I never would do that before. Even to dance, like last week and last night, I was in shorts. I would never have done that before. It's just these things that have really changed for me. That, yeah, it's just kind of priceless, really.
How does that make you feel?
Great. Amazing that I'm confident enough to do that because I've trusted myself and because I'm like, yeah, do you know what? My body might not be the best to everyone else, but I'm happy with it now. So that it's fine for me because I'm happy with it.
And can I just say this as well? It's really hard for people to articulate and kind of go around and see how the benefits, how you are going to get that money back. And you're completely right in that self-development is priceless. And I love that that's how you see it. However, also spending money on yourself is only going to get you money in the long run. If money is the thing that you want. For example, you've managed to do this course and pass first time because of self-belief.
Yeah.
And the work you're putting in and the energy that you now have. That's saving you money because you don't have to do that exam again. It's saving you time, which is therefore money. Again, does that make sense? Because,
True,
money versus time and all of that stuff, then you're going to get the career that you want to faster, more money. Because of the confidence that you have now, you can open your own business in what you're doing.
Yeah.
More money. You know what I mean? And a lot of the time, the difference between people who are entrepreneurs and open their own business versus people who are working for others, it's not a bad thing either way, but that comes from self-belief.
Yeah.
I believe that if you can open a business and this is how it runs, I can do it too. And now you have that self-belief and you have all that value.
Yeah.
What's to say that you can't be the one at the top of the chain making all the money? Are you sure now with the mindset that you have that it's going to come back? Like, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, because I think it's what you were saying earlier. It's not, like I've invested in it because I'm going to get so much money back. It's more I've invested in it for me, for all these other areas of my life. The confidence, like even if you look at the pictures, which I'm sure you have, the first picture I ever took to the picture I've taken the other day, that whole thing, what you said, I was like moping around in the first picture. You could see on my face. And in the last picture, I'm like smiling. I like being in front of the camera. I wear shorts now and like crop tops to the gym when I never would do that before. Even to dance, like last week and last night, I was in shorts. I would never have done that before. It's just these things that have really changed for me. That, yeah, it's just kind of priceless, really.
How does that make you feel?
Great. Amazing that I'm confident enough to do that because I've trusted myself and because I'm like, yeah, do you know what? My body might not be the best to everyone else, but I'm happy with it now. So that it's fine for me because I'm happy with it.
And can I just say this as well? It's really hard for people to articulate and kind of go around and see how the benefits, how you are going to get that money back. And you're completely right in that self-development is priceless. And I love that that's how you see it. However, also spending money on yourself is only going to get you money in the long run. If money is the thing that you want. For example, you've managed to do this course and pass first time because of self-belief.
Yeah.
And the work you're putting in and the energy that you now have. That's saving you money because you don't have to do that exam again. It's saving you time, which is therefore money. Again, does that make sense? Because you know, money versus time and all of that stuff, then you're going to get the career that you want to faster. More money, because of the confidence that you have now. You can open your own business in what you're doing. More money. You know what I mean? And a lot of the time, the difference between people who are entrepreneurs and open their own business versus people who are working for others, it's not a bad thing either way, but that comes from self-belief. I believe that if you can open a business and this is how it runs, I can do it too. And now you have that self-belief and you have all that value. What's to say that you can't be the one at the top of the chain making all the money?
There is nothing. And I think that's actually really interesting that you've brought that up, because again, since being on the program, I thought I'll qualify now in July. I'll go maybe work in another school doing school counselling, and we'll leave it as that. But that's changed, because then
that's changed.
That's changed because in around February, March time, whilst I was on the program, I started thinking, actually, I want to qualify, stay in my job for now, but I want to work on my business. I want to, you know, private practice. And that's what I want to do now. And it's completely changed. There was even a point where I was going to be doing another level 5 course and still investing my money and still studying. But I'm actually taking a step back and realising I'll be qualified. I can work privately. And I've been having like 4 clients a week. I've got the confidence now. Even that's changed. I wasn't as confident before. I've been having my adult clients where before I was just working with children. So I've just unlocked this whole new confidence on that level as well. And now my aim for next year is to start a business. Whereas before, before I saw that, I'll do that when I'm 50. I'll start a business when I'm like older, when I've got kids. But why am I going to do it in 25 years time?
And I'm so glad you said that, Gab, because you're not the first person who comes off the program and says, I'm going to open a business. You know what I mean? And it's not because suddenly you have the skills. You always had the skills. You just didn't have the confidence to. And a lot of people actually, they go to university or they do all these extra courses or they, you know, educate themselves or get all the paperwork because that is what they think is going to give them the confidence. They think if I have all these accreditations behind me, then no one can tell me that I don't know what I'm talking about. When actually, you know what you're talking about. You don't need the extra this and the extra that. Sometimes the best coaches in the world or the best, you know, counselors or whatever are not the ones who have done the most theory, as you probably already know.
Hate the theory.
Right, and vice versa. And actually, a lot of the time, psychology degree, for example, there is definitely a time and a place, and it can teach you about the names of the parts of the brain and it's the science behind it. But what's the practical that we need? You know what I mean? And I've heard that in psychology degree, and there is a place for it, don't get me wrong, but it's 20%, you know, behavior and 80% science. So how much of that are we actually using in day-to-day life? And as someone that's been through the experience, the trauma, you overcome it, gone through the therapies, etc., going to be somebody that can relate to you and help you more than someone that has all this paperwork in the background. And it's funny because old Gabs probably would have gone, well, like you said, would have gone, okay, I'm going to invest in this, I'm going to have this training, that training, that training, that training, because it makes you feel more adequate to be able to have your own business. When actually I had my own business at 16.
Wow.
And people were saying, Beckie,
wow.
People were saying, Beckie, how did people even like take you seriously at 16? And I said, because I took myself seriously. That's why. I was a serious 16-year-old. Believe it or not. So the coaching that I do now,
amazing.
I was a personal trainer, and I had a personal training fitness business, online and offline, at 16 years old.
Amazing. Nice. Wow.
And I thought everybody knew this, so maybe they don't. So maybe I'll do another podcast on this. And then obviously after that, scrapped that after a few years, then went into dance, opened up the dance school, opened up Drip Cartel, you know, then merged Drip Cartel with DC. Then I'm back to doing this. So this is actually where my heart is. And this is something that I didn't have capacity for a long time because I was trying, at 18 to 21 year old, trying to do everything in this life. And I realized, hang on a minute, Beckie, you need some time. Like you need to decide what's going on. I went through a few more things that just solidified to me massively that this is what I'm supposed to do. And I want people like you to be able to do the same thing. There is no reason why anyone should not have the confidence, the ability, the self-belief, etc., resilience to be able to have their own business. The only thing stopping those people, when people think that if they go on a business course, they're going to have their business. You might have it for 3 months, but you're not going to have it after that because your resilience is going to go down. You're going to be exhausted. You're not going to have the foundations and the building blocks, to have that business because your mind isn't right first, like you say. So if you haven't got the right mentality, you haven't got the confidence, the resilience, the passion, the self-love, the self-efficiency, the self-awareness and self-esteem to be able to do the things that you believe in, then when things happen in your business, like someone's arguing with you, someone doesn't want to pay you, the tax man's coming after you, or whatever it is, without your mind being in the right place first and having the resilience to deal with all those things, why is that not a huge reason as to why many entrepreneurs crash and burn at month 2, year 1, year 2 max, and then everybody's out? So I hope that you feel like now that you're at a place where, and I'm so glad you just said it, that actually you're going to do it today and not when you're 50, because now that investment that you made in this is now going to come back to you rapid, because of the self-belief.
And it honestly only happened when I was on the program. I was so set that I wanted to, and I still have a dream of being a school counsellor, but that can be like something I do for myself part-time. But now there's this real desire to have my own business and private practice. So that's something I'm definitely going to start with first, because I can do the course at any point, but it's more important, like you say, to me, to start my own business, because I feel like I can do it now. But that wasn't there before. Talking January time, I would still have said, yeah, I'm going to go and do the next course and float by when I'm qualified. So
it's interesting, isn't it? Because I think people think that I am this alien who, but Beckie can do it because Beckie's Beckie. When actually now you're talking like me, you're walking like me, you're saying the same thing, and it's not because it's me. It's just the beliefs that I have and all of those things, you now believe them too. And that's the only reason that I got from not having a business to having one, was the mentality. And now you're saying the same things, you're behaving the same way, you're talking the talk, you're walking the walk, you're eating right, you're gymming, all of that stuff, you're looking after your health first. Health creates wealth at the end of the day. And you are the absolute example of that, because the way you're talking now, Gabs, compared to the way you were talking before,
it's major, like crying on our first call, which everyone does, by the way. It is an emotional call because you're about to flip your whole life around, and it's scary. It's very, very, very scary, and I don't think that anyone should not be scared, because then it just means you're not ready enough. But for you now, being able to sit here, talk down the mic, say all the things that you're saying, is a testament to you, and goes leaps and bounds in how far you've come. Like, look how far you've come. Thank you. From that first call. And I mean it as well, because I'm actually so proud when you say stuff like, I'm gonna have my own business now and I never thought I was gonna do this before. I'm like, like all these other, I don't promote you're gonna have your own business by the end of the course, but every single person does. Wow.
All the people that come out of this, every single person now wants to be an entrepreneur. Not because I speak about it. I don't think we've ever spoken about business once.
No, first time now. Right.
But actually look at the outcome. And it's really interesting, isn't it? Just with the right mentality, you can do anything in this life. And
it really is
the absolute example of that.
Thank you.
What would you say to 18-year-old Gabs? What advice would you give to her?
Just that everything is going to be fine as long as you believe in yourself. If you come off track and don't believe in yourself, then, it might not be so great. So, I think when I was 18, probably from 18 to like 22, I was in like a long-term relationship then anyway. So it was a whole different story for another day. But there was no belief there at all. Would look at other people, and honestly, the comparison was like, they've got that. I would compare like my relationship, I'd compare everything. So because I didn't have that belief, in myself, I wasn't confident, didn't think I could do anything. My like way, how I looked back then, everything was different. So I'd probably just say believe in yourself and don't give up.
Let's go. Gabs, you've been amazing. Thank you so much for doing the podcast with me and traveling all the way from North London down those dodgy motorways that we have in the UK. And no, honestly, I'm so proud of you. If there's ever a time when you need me, please message me. If you ever feel like you're going to go off track, just have my little voice in your head all the time.
I always do. I always do. It's so funny.
And I'm also going to give you one of these.
Yay.
And I was supposed to give one to Georgia. Sorry, Georgia, but I am going to give one to her. But this little book, basically, there's only enough space for you to do 3 wins, 3 learnings, and your reflection rate. And I want you to keep doing this without me every single day. And keep it with you. It's the same size as your phone. So every time you're going to go on your phone, and instead of scrolling on your phone and going through negativity and finding bad things and finding something that you're going to compare yourself with, if you ever go down that trap again, instead of your phone, which is the same size as this, you pick up this instead. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And when you've got this is a book full of positivity, learnings, goals for the next day, etc., that you can put in your bag, put anywhere, and just keep with you forever. And I want you to look at this as the replacement of your phone, and the toxicity that the comparison in that phone brings for you. We replace it with kindness and being kind to yourself and being positive every day, and, you know, knowing what's next for you and moving forwards and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I can do with that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
Wow, what a journey in 15 weeks.
Thanks. Thanks for having
No
me.
more wholemeal bread.
Nope.
But yeah, any last words that you have to say?
Just, if anyone's out there wanting to do the program, do it. Don't let anything hold you back. Don't let them negative thoughts hold you back. Really just need to trust the process, and that's it, really. And believe in yourself.
Yeah, let's go. Thank you, Gabs.
That's okay, you're welcome.